Courtney Johnston here from rulebreakersclub.com, and I want to talk to you in this video all about my favorite top secrets for creating regular, consistent blog content. These tips are going to work with you whether you have a YouTube channel, a blog that you write every single week, a podcast that goes out, or anything else that you're doing or want to do on a regular basis. Now look, I know so well the struggle of trying to get content done regularly and then always feeling like there's something else you'd rather be doing. The problem with the way most people create blog content is that we wait until the week that we need to publish our blog post. We come up with an idea that week. Usually it's something what we feel like talking about at the moment, and then we'd write the post that week, set it up ourselves, hit publish. It's just a lot of work, and frankly, if I was doing blog posts that way, it would never get done. The problem with that method is that there's all kinds of obstacles that you're going to run into. First of all, what if you don't feel like talking about something that week? Or what if you're going through something rough and that doesn't inspire you to want to talk about that subject? And then finally, in the whole process of getting it done, there's so many steps you need to follow, from creating the content to then editing it, creating graphics that you need to create, publishing it on your blog, sharing it with your newsletter, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of different steps at play here, and if you wait to do it as one task at the last minute, it's never going to get done. Okay, so first of all, I've got 3 tips for you on how to revolutionize the way that you're creating content. And then I want to share with you my personal 5-step process for creating all of my content. Tip number 1 is to batch. You've heard me say it before, you'll hear me say it again. I would get no content done. You would not be watching this video right now if I didn't batch creating my content. So for example, today I'm supposed to be filming about 10 different videos for my YouTube channel, as well as some other pieces of content, because once I've, done my hair, put on my makeup, set up all the camera and the lights and all that jazz, it's way easier for me to knock out several videos versus trying to do this every single week. What batching means is that you try to get a whole bunch of stuff done at the same time so that you don't fall victim to context switching, constantly changing what tasks you're doing. It takes mental energy from you every time you start a new task. So this is the trick. You're not going to be starting a new task. You're going to outline 5 different blog posts on one day, because once you get into the rhythm of coming up with a topic for a blog post, why not come up with 10 different topics for 10 different blog posts, then move on to the next step of the process and do that step for all of those posts versus trying to do one post at a time. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I batch my videos at the end of this video, so stay with me. Tip number 2 is to hire people to hold you accountable. For me, this was it. It wasn't until I had a virtual assistant, somebody else on my team, who was expecting me to send them my part of the content so that they could do their job, that I finally started getting things done on time. Virtual assistants don't have to be all that expensive either. There's tons of different options. And I actually have a whole video on how to know when you're ready to hire a virtual assistant and how to go through that process once you've decided to hire somebody. And then tip number 3 is to follow a recipe, or in other words, in business terms, have a system in place for how you create content. You don't want to be reinventing the wheel every single time. That's going to take so much creative energy. And if you're creating content for your blog every week and you have to create new content, you don't want to have to do it in a brand new, different way every single time. You want to have a go-to system. Now, if you go to look at my blog posts, if you just look at all of my past blog posts at rulebreakersclub.com/blog, you'll see that the same pattern is followed for every single post. There's an intro to the post, then we plug the video in, then I go over what I talked about in the video and have a call to action at the end every single time. When I'm creating these videos, I follow the same formula for every single video. Yes, every piece of content is on a different topic, but I don't want to be reinventing the wheel each time, trying to create a whole new strategy, because that would be exhausting. Okay, so now that you have my 3 top tips for getting your blog content created on a consistent basis, I want to walk you through my 5-step content creation process. Step number 1 is to know what is in your content zone, what topics you talk about and what topics you do not talk about on your blog. I'm passionate about a lot of different things that have nothing to do or not enough to do with what the topic is I want to get known for. I'm very strategic about the topics that I pick for my blog posts because they're always related to something that I do in my business. Step number 2 is to establish the editorial calendar. So I always look out, we publish content every single Thursday, and I'll look out for the next 6 weeks, and then I pick a topic for each of those 6 weeks. And I try to balance it so that I'm not always talking about sales page copy, or I'm not always talking about something else. However, if we have an upcoming launch for our signature program, Yay for Clients, you better bet that all of my content leading up to that launch is going to be nurturing you for that program, so that if you're somebody who's going to be a fit for that program, you're going to have been seeing that content regularly leading up to our promotion. An editorial calendar does not have to be fancy. It can literally just be picking the topic you're going to talk about each week for the next several weeks. Step number 3 for me is to outline. Now what I do is I actually have this handy dandy notebook here. It says blog right on the front, and I go through and I give 2 pages each for each blog post. So I would open up a new page, I'll write down the date and the topic. So when I create the editorial calendar, I'll just go and mark all those pages. And then what I do in this notebook is I just go through and I outline, I brainstorm what I want to talk about for each of those posts, what my main points are going to be. I highly recommend doing this by hand because this is a creative process, and when you write by hand, you are going to access more ideas and have a better creative process than if you try to do this typing, which forces you to kind of just start drafting things. And that brings me to step number 4, which is when I finish the content. Now the way I normally do this is by just taking my outline from my notebook, like I have right here, hopping on video and talking through each of the points. Then what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to have this video transcribed by rev.com, and I'm going to edit that and turn that into the blog post that you see at rulebreakersclub.com. And then that brings us to step number 5, which is to publish your content, whatever that means. This is very different than creating the content. This is, uploading it into WordPress, creating your graphics, uploading the video into YouTube or getting the podcast set up, however you need to do that. It's creating the social media graphics that you're going to need for that post. Whatever those very specific steps are behind the scenes, those are a lot of those things you can hand off to somebody else to get that done for you. So I hope you really enjoyed this video on how to create consistent blog content for your business. If you did enjoy the video, I would love to know what was your favorite of the tips that I taught you today. Let me know in a comment below, and then make sure to like this video. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to my channel at the little icon of my face right here so that you will not miss the next video. And I will see you next time.